So for this first lab exercise, we're going to go ahead, find an existing legacy report, verify that it runs, and then we're going to add the code to that report that's necessary to take it from the legacy realm of Genero and instead run it through the Genero Report Writer framework, having it sent to the Genero Report engine and displayed using the Genero Report viewer. For this lab exercise, we're going to go and we're going to take an existing legacy report, a report that was written without the Genero Report Writer, and we're going to change a little bit of the code so that it runs through the Genero Report Writer framework. In order to do this, the first thing I need to do is actually find a legacy report. So I'm going to go into my samples directory, which was installed when you installed Genero Studio. I'm going to go into the BDL tutorial, and I'm going to look in Chapter 9. There we have the custreports.4gl, which is the report application that was part of the BDL tutorial. Let me go ahead and create a copy of this. And I'm going to go into my GRW class lab folder. Let me go ahead and create a new folder inside of this. And this folder I'm going to call Legacy. And inside of this Legacy folder, I will go ahead and paste my custreports.4gl. And just to be sure I'm dealing with the right file, that I'm not confused at all, let me give it a little rename, and I'm going to rename it my custreports.4gl. So at this time I have a legacy report application. Let me go into my Genero Studio, and inside of the GRW class project workspace, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a new application node. I'll call this application node Legacy App 1. I will go ahead and set this as the default application. I am going to add a file, and the file I add, of course, is going to be that legacy report file. The last thing I need to do is I need to go to the advanced properties. I believe this is off the end of my recording, but at the bottom of this drop-down menu I have advanced properties. I need to look at my dependencies, and I want to click the databases library. So I want it to be able to find that custom demo database schema. I can click OK. At this point, I should be able to execute this and see the application. So let me click Execute. And the report displays as it always has inside of the Genero framework. So it's using the GDC, and it gives the report out in this report display. I can do my next pages and my previous pages, but you have an idea of what it looked like under the old system. Now, the thing that we want to do now is we want to display the same report. However, we want it to be sent to the Genero report engine. We want it to be output into the report viewer. So how do we make that happen? To make that happen, the first thing I need to do is open up my custreports.4gl. So we're going to do a little bit of modification inside of this old legacy report. However, before I get to that, let me go ahead and click on the application node. Since I'm going to be using the Genero report engine, I need to add the Genero report engine's libraries. So let me go to my external dependencies, and I'm going to add my libgre.42x. And I click on OK. I now have the library associated to it. I can go to my cust reports, and I need to add the code to allow it to run through the framework. So the first thing I want to do is, after the record definition, I need to define my SACS document handler. Define handler as the SACS document handler. Now, in order to actually have it run without providing an actual 4RP file, the minimum amount of code that I need is my if the FGL report load current settings is null, then I can let my handler equal to my FGL report commit current settings. And if. Now, inside of the module where I went through the slides, I said that this is the minimum code I needed to add in order to make an application run. However, I do want to add a couple more things here. I want to make sure that my device, the output device, is going to be my report viewer. And I want to make sure my preview setting is set to true so that it displays right away. So before I commit my current settings, I need to go in and I need to call my FGL report select device. And I'm going to set that equal to SVG. I also need to call my FGL report select preview. And I want that to be equal to true. So at this point now, I'm dividing my handler. I then, because I don't have a 4RP file, my load current settings will be null. I'm going to then set the device to display in report viewer. I'm going to set my preview to true, and then we'll commit those current settings. Let's go ahead and save this. And let's go ahead and execute the application. The application executes, and as you can see here, it displays now inside of the report viewer. What you should see, and now let me expand this so it's a little more visible, is that it didn't do any special formatting. It's basically displaying that report as we were used to seeing it, or as it was defined inside of that legacy report file. But it does give you the ability to run your existing reports inside of the report writer framework.